amend the National Youth Council Act to depoliticize the membership of the National Youth Council by allowing the competitive recruitment of the youth serving in the council through the office of the fact that the speaker is ready to handle, the deputy speaker is ready to handle the business of the day. We therefore take you inside the chamber so that you can take a listen. And indeed, we wish you an enjoyable viewing. My name is Ken Ariro. Stay with KBC Channel 1 and on Signet Bunge channel. Thank you. This. Indeed, a look at the statement on the delegation of legislative powers and limitations of fundamental rights and freedoms. The bill does not contain any provision for reproductive technology. We can still see MPs coming in, and shortly, I think we'll be able to, we can see the quorum has been achieved. Let's take a listen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I thank you. Let's go back to the member for Ganze. And I want to request members and probably ask the clerks that when members have questions, they should also be provided with the hard copy.
Kyoko of ID number 231153977, who is a person living with disability, was denied renewal of her income tax exemption certificate, which she applied on 22nd of May 2019. B. Can the Cabinet Secretary explain why Rachel Kasioka Kyoko was denied the tax exemption?
They become a bit confusing. I think you can deal with the... In fact, I must advise you, Honorable Mulyungi, take the bigger title of the two. Honorable Jude Jomo, you know this is your bill. Proceed and move it. And
I'm unable to identify all the employers. They are unable to collect all these funds because of those capacity problems. And in their own assessment, they are collecting about 1/5 of what they think of the following month. And that clears the fear that they may not remit. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, with that, after collection, 6% of that is collected is submitted to national, industrial, or to universities. But if we show our youth that these are training institutions that everybody has interest in, these are training institutions that are producing quality technicians, quality people who are getting employed, then our youth are going to be interested in getting training. Economy attract investors, because investors will know that when you go to Kenya, you'll get good laboratory technicians, you'll get...
When we were improving university education, like I said, desirable as it was not appropriate for us to kill some tertiary institutions.
Areas. If you will say you will take this money without bringing on board the social actors, the representative of the workers, the representative of the employees,
go to those groups, including NITA here, so said. So this may not really be necessary for this particular time, because it can be done, like the chair said, in a very administrative way. Another thing about this bill, Honorable Speaker, is that the bill, yes, has a good idea of expanding the collection, yes. But that money so collected on behalf of workers, after collecting, we can spread the money to be used in training of other people elsewhere. Though we are not supporting that, but look at what we are doing.
That we can think through in terms of... Speaker, I am not convinced that as a country, if we utilize our resources effectively and efficiently, if we stopped misusing our resources, if we stopped corruption in this country, if we closed the taps of corruption, Mr. Speaker, we would have enough resources to train our youth who need training. So we don't have to go back to the employers and tell them that the money that you are supposed to contribute...
Currently, the money which is being remitted or which is collected, Mr. Speaker, is just 800 million. But when we'll involve KRA in this, Mr. Speaker, because they will be having the required skills to use in various jurisdictions of works, Mr. Speaker. So it is
it's the money. That money normally is submitted to the Treasury. They don't have any powers to spend a 5 cent. So as you amend this, we'll also be forced to amend the KRA Act. That one has to be clear. KRA collects money, but it has no powers to spend that money. That money Act supposed to submit 50 shillings per employee.
We are where we are today.
Very well.
Members, what the training levy is supposed to do. This is very wrong. Chair has to pull up the socks. And Madam Speaker, I support this bill. Let's move it forward. We'll amend it as my leader had said, so that at the
very well, as I protect the Honorable Deputy Minority Whip.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also give my contribution on this very, very important matter that has been canvassed by the Honorable Jude Jomo. And Madam Speaker, the member for anyone who reads the bill, what it's about. The other question I have is on question 5B, part 3. Now, that one is specified that this money should be collected on the 5th day or should be remitted by the 5th day after the month. Responsibility day in, day out. If we do this for them, then what does NITA do? They pick a policy and follow it to the letter. I think it's important when we have boards and authorities, we give them some leeway to also come up with some work. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, I want to agree with my leader that it is not bad intentioned, so we will support it, but then we will go to third.
Our children who sat KCSE last year, only 125,000 would go to the university. That means 500. In fact, recently we had an issue that there was not enough uptick of help. Reactions that we have seen in this house, that what Honorable Jude Jomo has moved and what Honorable Wario has said, and
but it sort of have been inactive for a long time. And if we can improve the law to make it very active and to make it very useful to Kenyans, it is one of the good things and one of the positive things in this particular bill. Therefore, looking at it and from the suggestions we have heard from members so far, it's laws. So this is a very important law. We don't want it to go back to those roots. We want to support the country as a parliament, and we want to make sure that the money is collected under this system are applied.
It's very wrong. But having said that, Madam Speaker, I want to say that the idea behind this bill is very noble. It seeks to deal with the issue of youth unemployment and skills development. We know that recently the ministry, I saw this, because of the desperation that the youths of these countries are facing. And so, Madam Speaker, I would want to say that now when again we go ahead and start using KRA, it looks like, and if we don't deal with it now and address it even in the budget that is coming, then we are up in trouble. Madam Speaker, I am even happy that this is coming up at the same time as the Youth Council Amendment Bill, which is actually the next order. And Madam Speaker, the reason I'm saying that is because we have not been taking the issues of youth very seriously. And if you see the National Youth Council
desire to have, because we know that the equalizer in this world is education. And the people who have been able to get education, Madam Speaker, have succeeded in many ways than we can be able to appreciate at this point, Madam Speaker. We all know that we have the biggest challenge in this country of unemployment, and the way to address that unemployment, Madam Speaker, one such way addressing the issues which are really concerning Kenyans out there, Madam Speaker. We all speak of unemployment of the youth, Madam Speaker. It's such a serious concern. The insecurity which is out there is so massive, Madam Speaker, and it's all because you have not spoken hope to the youth. We have kept on promising them that tomorrow will be the next leaders, they will be the leaders of tomorrow, and that tomorrow is here now. And we must get away a working formula, Madam Speaker, on CNN, where in Nigeria, they've started a program of, a development zone,
without having to go to university. And that has to start with us by doing our civic education in whichever way we can be able to do it, so that our people would have the confidence that you can succeed in any level of education. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support, and this is a very innovative amendment coming from my brother Chundi Chomo. Thank you.
Look into so that they can have that additional role. But again, this is we wouldn't wish to delve into a situation that will be of a regret at the end of the...
Madam Speaker, I have gone through the report and I have noticed that only 3 institutions participated in the public participation. That is NITA itself, KRA, substance of the bill. The issue of KRA having the mandate to assess and collect the training levies from the employer. I think this is, I think it's serving the same purpose. We are targeting the youth of this country in terms of promoting their trade. I don't think that it's valid for one to say that it will lead into lower collection, that it will lead into non-remittance. That is not a valid point. KRA themselves have clearly said that they have no problem with this proposal and they are ready to implement it. So let us allow KRA to do it. So it is important to note that the bill is good, but a lot of cleanup needs to be done.
To drink the water. Our part as a committee was to meet the stakeholders, bring a report, table the report, make the report public. Surely, as whip, he had the responsibility of even whipping members to read the report, which he himself failed in. So I wanted to also just deal with that aspect. If there could be an administrative arrangement between NITA and KRA, NITA will remain with the responsibility of assessing of the training needs and so on, and enter into an arrangement with KRA so that KRA does the collection. That would still not be a problem, and that can be addressed when we are doing the amendments. In terms of increasing the amount, currently the amount is set through subsidiary legislation. It's set through the area of industrial training. And so let me say that having listened to members and even, consulted with our chair and so on, we are saying, so long as these concerns can be addressed within the committee of the whole house, then we support, and then we will, so long as we will be able to amend during committee of the whole house to address these concerns. I support and hope that.
And I know NITA is meant to enhance this role, to assist companies to sharpen the skills of various workers. However, we also know that right now the government is trying to also enhance the training of youth as they complete various institutions. Those who are in vocational training institutions, those who are vocational training institutions, to meet the requirement of the youth at this particular time. And then it is a good thing. Right now, Madam Speaker, well, I agree, I support with amendments, Madam Speaker.
You support with an amendment.
Thank you.
That is parliamentary. And your amendments are very welcome. Let me have the member for Ruaraka, the Honorable TJ Kajwang.
In Madare, where my friend who is just leaving the chamber comes from, where there is no one single TVET in Ruaraka. These are the people, a progressive policy. My learned friend, my friend from Makadara has just walked in. I'm speaking on behalf of him because he represents those low-income neighborhoods, as I was saying. Germany has a specific policy that all entrepreneurs, all companies, and IFMIS, and that money will never be able to come back to support these people. We should have an authority whose mandate in legislation it is to do industrial training, and they collect that levy. And we as Parliament
has captured through public participation. On the onset, I really want to point out that although they have given us feedback from certain interested institutions, but I think we could have got the number of trainees. Madam Speaker, today One of the reasons industry X, industry Y, so that if annually they are taking maybe 50 or 100, how can they take 100 more? Madam Speaker, some of the gray areas that we see.
Let me thank my friend Jude Jomo and the entire committee for taking the effort to do this bill. It's not easy to come up with a bill. Defined well, that is fine. So I agree with you. We need to do something about this. And to me, it is more of a capacity building issue for the institution to do what they are required to do. Because when you talk of training and assessment, even which carries the intersectoral collaboration. You know, we duplicate, sometimes we remove, we take, we remove, but what we are missing, how can two agencies work together to share their strength? If the weakness is identified in revenue, levy collection or assessment, but the KRA has it, then the...
Speaker, given the fact that we are having problems in this country for employment, I was reading a journal the other day, and I'm told that over 17 million youths are looking for jobs. And I think based on this, we'll be able to come out with a working formula and the procedure to be able to help institutions, particularly the training of the youths. With those few remarks, I support the bill.
The Honorable David Ochieng, member for Ugenya.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to support the bill and thank the Honorable Jude Jomo for a job well done. Madam Speaker, as a country, and looking at how we've performed on other sectors, the biggest cash crop that we have today in the country, on the issue of the day, the issue of who collects for them, Madam Speaker, and I'm going to propose an amendment to this so that we ensure that if KRA is to collect, then this and to be able to do so that then this becomes a vibrant fund for doing this. I also think that we could discuss with the Honorable Jude about how to apportion the monies that are collected so that we are not, targeting, for example, technical, where I think money is already available, and targeting other places. Let's leave this money where it belongs to ensure that we are, people get redundant because we're not trained. People lose jobs because new technologies come up where they work and they can't cope up. So you want to ensure that this money is being used to ensure that people can retain their jobs whenever new things come up. And I'm Speaker, with those so many
cost us economic meltdown, but it have also cost us lives of our citizens. Honorable Speaker, that is why we really need to support this particular bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, especially when it is industrial training by NITA, a qualified organization that we know down, yet if there was this training in artisan, Honorable Speaker, we'll be having these people being available, Honorable Speaker. There is a total unemployment in our country, a very huge problem of unemployment. And with that huge problem of unemployment, Honorable Speaker, if we train carpenters, mechanics, plumbers, and so on, Honorable Speaker.
You're mixing relevance and irrelevance. Because now, how do locusts come in with whatever, even if you're so passionate about these things, you don't need to sneak in mother tongue into your contribution to parliamentary issues. No, you've had your time.
Working experience that is needed for fresh graduates so that they can be able to be absorbed in the fast-growing industry, in the construction and many other related industries. Madam Speaker, you will allow me to talk a little about lack of experience, which is a real big handle for the young people to get into the job market. Currently, in my county, as the county woman MP, I'm running a program and an initiative which I'm calling the Y Job Link, the Youth Job Link. I know it is not part of this discussion because we discussed yesterday, but I would want to say this. If we had quite many young people trained in the agricultural value addition training category in this country, we would not be crying foul about locusts in this country. We actually should be celebrating, because we could have harvested these locusts in numbers and dried them in numbers. And
that was a game changer. That was a life-changing experience for those 50 young men, because they did not go back to drinking. I met one and he said, yes, I drink, but the difference is I drink by